Hey guys, welcome to the show. If you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Got a great presentation for you today from Betty, the beautiful Van Velsen. See how she's doing today. I think she's doing okay, and she's ready to present right now.
Wow, that's the shortest intro ever. Seems like you are in a hurry and you want to make it snappy.
yeah. You when I first told you that was a number of weeks ago. I said make it
Yeah.
snappy. You were like you got a little agitated.
Yeah, well, if you're going to show someone a bit of information that you worked on a great deal, and you want to have it sort of presented well, and then somebody says, "Okay, yeah, well, let's make it snappy. Let's go. Hurry, hurry, hurry," and then like, what?
Yeah.
It doesn't go over well, right? I don't think that if we would have told you make it snappy with your presentations, that wouldn't have gone over well as well, right?
I don't know. But I'm pretty snappy with presentations.
No, the thing is that you want to have your information out in one bit, in one sort of portion of information. You don't want to be hacking it up in little pieces where the context is gone.
What do you mean? I've been doing that for the past 3 months with science.
Yeah, but you have had the opportunity a couple of times to bring your information in one piece.
I have.
So now that people are acquainted with the information, now you can break it up in little pieces.
Yes. I
Yeah.
suppose you're right. We didn't test anything before you came on, so that was probably not a good idea. You want to share your screen?
Oh, that's a good thing, huh? To do.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
test that. So that's probably a good idea.
Interesting. Yeah, let me share my screen.
Yeah, just to make
Um,
sure everything's on the up and up, so when we want to get started, we can get started.
okay.
Oh, looks good.
Yeah,
That's different.
it's different. Yeah, it's a little different.
You got a little different template here?
Well, it's a different template that I
That's
use
what I just
now.
said.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I didn't I didn't understand that. What was that word?
Template?
You didn't say template.
I did say template.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I overtalked you.
Yeah, like something that never happens.
You're a little lost for words when I say that.
I was like, jeez. Okay, let's
Yeah,
go with the
well,
usual. Can I go with my usual disclaimer? It's not a special disclaimer. I have not seen this presentation. Obviously, I just saw the template right now, so I haven't seen it. Just my usual disclaimer. That the education addressed today isn't
education, don't call it education.
Say again.
Well, in my disclaimer, I'm telling people that I don't teach people anything, right? I don't want to be a teacher. I
Oh,
just want to
brother.
present things that I found out, right? So, but you can sort of distance yourself
Okay.
therefore
Okay.
from it
All right.
and just take it as is,
The
right?
points presented today in the presentation, which is a little bit redundant because it's present and presentation, but I digress. Do not necessarily coincide with the thoughts of the owner.
Not necessarily, but might
Not,
be, or could definitely be.
it could be.
It could be,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, I think that on this topic, many people are that have gone over the Bible have come to certain conclusions,
Yeah.
um, and they can differ from one another. But I think the main thing that we need to understand is that we are part of the body of Christ, right? In that sense, and that we know that Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead, and that he died on the cross for our sins. So that's basically the topic that we should be really at odds with, right? Or how do you say that? In cahoots? No, that's not the word. What word
Coots.
am I looking at? But that we should sort of agree on, right? And all the other things that it's just fringes, I think. But still, it
I
can
don't know.
be
That
very.
sounds like it's a grease in the skids opportunity to wheel something in.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I think that we need to unify and not divide.
All right. Well, okay. I can understand that, but you don't sacrifice anything in unifying.
No, but that doesn't mean that we have to be worrisome um,
Yes,
about this topic,
I agree.
right?
I see where you're going with it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So you tell me
Okay.
when you're ready, and we'll start rolling. I haven't checked the chat or anything. Sorry about that, guys. My mind's on something else. I haven't checked the chat. Looks like everyone's here. Paula's here. YouTube's here. Where's Adam?
Maybe he's listening in, having tea. You never know. Or he might be looking in later, looking
Okay.
for it later.
Okay. Well, just are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm trying to see how I can start from the first.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not ready. Take your time. Oh, I do see the curtain.
Yeah, the curtains are drawn.
I seen it minimized. So just let me know,
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
and then I'll let you know.
Oh, that's good.
I think that's the best screen. Let me try another one. 1 second. No, that's not. That's the best one. All right, you're up.
Okay, so today's topic for my presentation is obviously
Yikes.
the Bride of Christ. I think the thumbnail was very clear on this. And let me put up my disclaimer again. I will put it up every time. I don't want to be a teacher, right? I'm not a teacher. I just want to convey the things that I've learned myself till now, and I'm still up for any new learning and new teachings, and because I think the Bible is a living book. You can take out anything from it to learn more and more and go deeper and deeper into the relationship with God, with Jesus. So that's sort of my standpoint. So yeah, and I don't want to sort of persuade people for my beliefs or whatever, and I don't want to offend anyone. So like I said, let's get started with unifying instead of dividing, right? But I just want to see what people think of this, and maybe it helps, and maybe I can learn from someone else. So let's go to Revelation 19, verse 7. It says there, let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. So here's that verse again. And when I first saw this, I was kind of surprised because I didn't know this from the Bible. It was never taught at me. I was going to a Christian school, and the only thing that we sort of learned was baby Jesus when it was Christmas, and at Easter, we knew that he died, and Passover and that sort of things, and it was a lot of to do with the Easter bunny and eggs and stuff. So it didn't make sense. And when I read the Bible and I heard people say about the bride of Christ, I'm the bride of Christ, and I thought, oh, what does that mean? And where is it? So it was very important for me to okay, how, what, why, when, and more importantly, when, right? So I thought, okay, let's see. So the questions, so the Bible makes many references to a marriage. Is God the husband, and who is the bride? What are the key words that we look for in the Bible that has to do with the marriage or a wedding? Well, I made myself a list of words that have to do with a wedding. So here we go: the bridegroom, a virgin, a bride, husband, betrothal, a covenant, a best man, friend of bridegroom, two witnesses. We usually have two witnesses with a marriage. A place for them to live, a mansions, a kingdom, maybe if you're princess. The elders, your parents perhaps, the ministers, wedding guests, wedding feast or meal, wedding dress or garments, wedding gifts, wedding date or invitation. So all these words have to do with a marriage. So maybe we can find those in the Bible. So I want to look at the first 4 of these sort of words that I find interesting. So husband, marriage vows, wedding proposal, bill of divorce. Okay, so let's see. So first we go to who's the husband according to the Bible. So who's the husband? In Isaiah 54, we read in verse 5, "For thy Maker is thine husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. The God of the whole earth shall he be called." So we have identified the husband. He's the Lord of hosts, the Redeemer. So it says here, the Redeemer. Could he be Jesus? I thought immediately when I hear redeem means salvation. Jesus means salvation. Do we have a second witness in the scriptures for this? And we go to Jeremiah 31 in verse 32, and it says, "Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord." Okay. So wait a minute. Was a husband to them? So God was already married? So again, we have that verse again. So he took them out of the land of Egypt. Who did he take out of Egypt? And which covenant was broken? With them, that is the whole of Israel, the 12 tribes. Right? He was a husband unto them. So God was a husband to Israel. He made a covenant with them. A covenant as in marriage vows. What was that covenant that God made with the whole of Israel? Let's see. So we go to the next topic, the covenant. So here we get the covenant, the 10 commandments. In Exodus 20, God speaks to Moses and gives him the 10 commandments. And we know them as these, right? Have no other gods, do not make an idol or any likeness. Do not take the name of the Lord God in vain. Remember the Sabbath. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. And you shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. Okay, makes sense. I mean, if you have a partner, you would like to have him hold to this, basically, because you don't want to have a partner that steals from you or from another, or commits adultery, bears false witness, right? You want to have a partner that holds to these rules. But what happened? The first set of tables were broken by Moses. In Exodus 32, verse 19, we read, "And it came to pass, as soon as he came nigh unto the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot. And he cast the tables out of his hand and brake them beneath the mount." Could it be a foreshadow of something later to happen? So the golden calf incident is a foreshadow of what's to happen later. That's what I think. In an act of grace, because it says it in the scriptures before, God gives Moses the 10 commandments again. And he said, "Behold, I make a covenant," in Exodus 34, verse 10. "Before all thy people I will do marvels, such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee." I think, terrible thing that I will do with thee. This is sort of like, I don't know. So what's important with that new covenant? To keep the commandments, right? That's basically what's important, to have as a covenant between two parties. Keep to the rules, to the set of rules. So in Exodus 19, verse 5 and 6, now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So there was a wedding back then because God was married. What was the marriage proposal? So God's marriage proposal to the children of Israel we read in Exodus 19, verse 1 to 6. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So we see in the verses before this is basically the wedding proposal to the children of Israel. And then the children of Israel say, Yes, I do, in Exodus 19, 7 to 11. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that the Lord has spoken, we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes. And be ready against the 3rd day, for the 3rd day shall the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai, or Sinai. So God was married with Israel from that day. But in Jeremiah 31, verse 32, it says, Not according to the covenant that I make with their fathers in that day, that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. So they broke the covenant. We see that God has made a covenant with the congregations or assembly of Israel. Congregation or assembly translates as church in modern times. So God was a husband to all the people of Israel. What happened? Go to the last of the words of today, the bill of divorce. So what happened to Israel? In Jeremiah 3, verse 8. And I saw, for when all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. So again, what happened? So let's go back a little. Solomon was the son of David, and he was made king over all of Israel. But in 1 Kings 11, verse 9, it says, And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from the Lord God of Israel, which appeared unto him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, and he kept not that which the Lord had commanded. you should not go after other gods. So you see here in this verse that God is angry with Solomon, and apparently he appeared to Solomon twice. So he had given him a warning to turn back, and apparently Solomon didn't go back. That would be sort of like not being obedient after being sort of rebuked by God. In God's eyes, Solomon was an adulterer. What are the consequences for adultery? So we continue from Kings 11 in verse 11 till 13. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, Forasmuch as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding, in thy days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Howbeit I will not rend it away all the kingdom, but I will give one tribe to thy son David, for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. So here Solomon, he will have the whole kingdom, but afterwards there's going to be a breakup. And I know that we have gone over this in the last presentation a couple of weeks back, where I also spoke about the division of Israel, and here it sort of starts. So we see in 1 Kings 11 verse 28 that Jeroboam was an Ephraimite. The one Ephraimites were that's where the blessing went to. He was made ruler over the house of Joseph, Ephraim, which means Ephraim and Manasseh. He was that servant that was mentioned earlier. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. So the house of Joseph is Ephraim and Manasseh, but eventually he got a lot of portion. So here we see the division here on this map, where the upper part, the northern part is Israel, and the southern part is Judah. And then we go to 1 Kings 11. A prophet, Ahijah, the Shilonite, came to give Jeroboam a prophecy about him being king of Israel, the 10 tribes. Ahijah means brother of Jah, and Shilonite means from Shiloh. Shiloh means peace. Shiloh in the Bible, we can see it here in Genesis 49, verse 10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and until him shall the gathering of the people be. So remember, the Ark of the Covenant rested in Shiloh for a while. I think this verse points to Jesus, the Prince of Peace. So when Jesus comes, then the scepter will fall on him and not on one of the tribe of Judah. So again, we see the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite come in Kings 11, 29 verse 29 till 31. And it came to pass that at that time that Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way, and he had clad himself with a new garment. And they two were alone in the field. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him, and rent it in 12 pieces. He said to Jeroboam, Take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, from the God of Israel, Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and I will give 10 tribes to thee. So here we see basically the split of the two houses. So continuing 1 Kings chapter 11, God speaks through the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite to Jeroboam. Unto his son I will give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem. the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desireth, and shalt be king over Israel. So Jeroboam will be king over Israel, the house of Israel, and one tribe extra is given to the son of Solomon, which is Rehoboam. So Rehoboam gets to have one tribe, which is the tribe of Benjamin, and the city Jerusalem was allotted, and I've talked about that before in another presentation, the previous one. They were allotted Jerusalem, so the territory of Benjamin, Jerusalem lay in that territory. So we have now the adultery of Jeroboam. What did he do? He made 2 calves. And we can see that in Kings 12, 1 Kings 12. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of these people turn again unto their Lord and unto Rehoboam king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam king of Judah. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, is it too much for you to go up to Jerusalem? Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And he set one in Bethel, and the other he put in Dan. So here we see that basically Jeroboam was kind of afraid that all the people that he ruled over would go back to the king of Judah, and because the sacrifices were usually made at Jerusalem. Because of that sort of fear, I think that's he made a sort of a idols, which made all the people go astray. So that's basically his crime, his sin. Not trusting God, basically. So here we see the map of the deportation by the Assyrians. Eventually, we got a whole strain of kings of Israel, the house of Israel, all going to do bad things and more into idolatry. And then we see that after the house of Jeroboam is destroyed, and the kings that follow are not good kings, the 10-tribed house of Israel was deported by the Assyrians during the year 745 till 715 BC to an area just south of the Caucasus mountain range in the nation then known as Media. And the tribes were sort of sent here and here and here. They put these people at the edges of the kingdom of that Assyrian Empire. They didn't disperse them all over the country, but they put them at the edges of their kingdom, basically as a sort of a safeguard that if they were sort of invaded by other people groups and nations, they first had to go through these new people of Israel that they put there. It's kind of interesting that they did it that way. Here we see it a little bit clearer. You see that the Black Sea is here, the Caspian Sea. This is the Caucasus Mountains, and there is a place here also that's called, I think, the Pass of the Israelites. So eventually they sort of strayed further into these passages over here and here and here. So backsliding house of Israel given a bill of divorce. Again in Jeremiah 3rd, I say it again, in Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. And I saw when all of the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. So basically, both tribes didn't do so well. I think that Judah had a couple of good kings, but eventually these also went astray. So God hates divorce, and we can see that in the following example. In Malachi 2, verse 14 till 16. Yet ye say, wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. Yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the Spirit. And wherefore one? That he might seek a godly seed. Therefore take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. For the Lord, the God of Israel, saith that he hated putting away, for one covereth violence with his garment, saith the Lord of hosts. Therefore take heed to your spirit, that ye deal not treacherously. So God hates treachery.
Treachery. Yeah, I wanted to stop you there because treachery is such a visual word for me. It's so. You said it a number of times earlier, and I caught it the first time, that little treacherous sister Judah. And I was going to stop you and say that the word is so powerful, right? And
Yeah.
you must have said it about 100 times since then. So I needed to stop you because treachery is showing up everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Continue.
Well, it's so similar to treasure, right? But treachery is, yeah, totally different from that. So,
I like it. It's a $10,000 word. I really like it. I'm going to start using it more in sentences.
Treacherously. Interesting. Yeah. So in Jeremiah 3rd, again at the 3rd, 3, verse 20, it says, surely as a wife treacherously departeth from her husband, so have ye dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, saith the Lord. Right? So this is about the house of Israel getting the bill of divorce. So his heart is broken, basically, for Israel, the house of Israel, the 10 tribes.
So Israel is treacherous, and so is the treacherous sister Judah.
Treacherously, yes.
So they're all treacherous.
Yes. Yes. Basically, none of them were good.
Okay, so what do we got here? So everyone's clear out there, and me too. So we got the house of Israel in the north, right? That's 10 tribes. And then we have the southern kingdom, which is Judah and Benjamin. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
And there are the Levites, right? But yet the Levites, remember that the Levites were scattered in Israel, which was a prophecy by Jacob, that the Levites would be situated within cities of all the tribes.
Yeah, I understand
So,
that. Also, something important that's going to come up sooner or later here is, yes, there are boundaries, right? But we're talking about land and family. When I say the family, the different tribes, right? But those borders can be crossed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying here is there's intermingling going on here, right? When there's going to become a time where there's going to be a choice between, because I think we bypassed it. I don't know if we're going to come back to it, because there's going to be a choice of people, no matter what their tribe is, to come and worship the Lord, or go to the north and worship all the heathen gods. Correct?
Well, the thing is that they usually married within their own tribes.
Yeah, but there was we'll get to this, but I can't pinpoint it, but it's not a boundary, right? It's not a physical boundary.
No, there's no walls around it.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah, because I think there's a place. I don't want to get you off your kilter here, but I think I'm going to have to search that out at some point if it doesn't come up.
Yeah, but you have to remember that when there was a passage with Benjamin, where Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin were nasty in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did wrong to a woman, and basically the whole other tribes of Israel combined murdered a lot of Benjaminites. And eventually there were a couple of them left, but nobody wanted to give out their women to these Benjaminites, right? So their own women were also destroyed.
Treachery.
Yeah. So there's a story to be told about that as well. There's much going on, right?
Yeah. So I'm talking about before the Assyrians took the northern tribes away, and then Nebuchadnezzar came down and put the hammer down on Judah. That there was some intermingling going on here. Right?
Yeah,
now the name stayed, right? The name's, Judah's Judah and the northern kingdom's Israel. I understand that. But the people made choices as to whether they're going to worship God or the nonsense that was going up in the north.
Yeah, well, when we follow what the Bible says, we know that they usually married within their own tribe because of the heritage and of the land that they were allotted to, right? So the intermingling happened more afterwards than before.
No, but I don't want to get sidetracked.
That's what we disagree about. But let's not.
Yeah, let's not go there. Yep, I agree. Okay, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
So with the treacherously departed from her husband thing, so I think, right? So what happened? What does the law of God say about the treacherous wives? Right? So the law on divorce.
Stone them.
What?
Stone them.
Well, the punishment is not set yet, so that's for the last day.
Okay, sorry about that. I just had to say it.
Stone them. In Deuteronomy 24, verse 1 to 4, we read the following: when a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be with another man's wife. If the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement, twice, and giveth her it in her hand and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled. For that is the abomination before the Lord, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. Do you see the significance of this? John?
I'm eating a peanut butter sandwich. I thought I was going to get away with it, right? I figured I'd,
I'm calling you out in those moments.
No, but it is good for further study here.
Yeah. Well, we are going to do that study within this right of Christ thing.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that first, you give her a bill of divorcement because she was treacherously doing stuff, or an adulterer, right? So she did go after other people, other gods, whatever. Then she cannot go back to her former husband because she's defiled. She can't go back.
Yep, I see it.
So do you see the significance? So God writes the house of Israel a bill of divorce. He can't take her back.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So that's a problem, right?
She's defiled.
Yeah.
That's another good word. I'm going to use that a lot too.
Okay. So, and this in Matthew 5, Jesus says this about divorce. He says, it hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committed adultery. So, wow, right? We have a problem here. So in Mark, we can also see here that it says the same in Mark, right? And in the house of his disciples asked him again of the same matter. And he saith unto them, Whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another, committed adultery against her. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committed adultery. So it is not just the men, but also the women, right?
Yes.
So we have
Yeah.
no way out here.
Mainly the women, though.
Sure. So again, you can only divorce your wife or husband when they commit adultery. So no other reasons are given by Jesus, right? So
Yep.
he's sort of saying, make it even more stricter, right, than Moses did.
Yep.
See the same thing in Mark, right? Also, the Pharisees came to him and asked, "Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife?" Tempting him, and he answered and said unto them, "What did Moses command you?" And they said, "Moses suffered to write a bill of divorcement, and to put her away." And Jesus answered and said unto them, For the hardness of your heart he wrote you this precept. But from the beginning of the creation God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother, and cleave to his wife. And the twain shall be one flesh, so then they are no more twain, but one flesh. So again, right, can't divorce a wife only when she committed a fornication, according to the Bible, right? And remember the one flesh in Genesis 2? Let's go there and see. It says here, In the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. And she be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. So this is also interesting, right? That it sort of make that reference in that former verse here. Let me go back to Mark 10, where Jesus basically says, well, there shall be one flesh, right? So my conclusion here, right, with Jeremiah 3 verse 8, right, the bill of divorcement, and God divorced the house of Israel because of her adulterous acts. It mentions Judah separately. The text doesn't say God divorced the house of Judah. He didn't. Why? His son Jesus would be born from the house of Judah as a legitimate son, right? So Jesus was born from the house of Judah, which was still married to God. See why that was important?
Oh, so you decide to drop a bombshell in your conclusion.
Well, there is a bombshell, right?
Okay, I can understand from the passages that you from your discussion here. I can see where you're going. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, if you go by law, by just the laws that God Himself put out, right? He can't have an illegitimate child.
I
Right?
see where you're headed there, but wasn't Judah still treacherous and taken away by Nebuchadnezzar?
Sure, but then again, the whole set of genealogy, right?
Yes.
Where I read through, yeah,
Yep.
in my previous presentation. That's why I did those beforehand, right? You could see that those were not all the kings, right? It was another sort of line
Mm-hmm.
of where Jesus came out from, right?
Sure.
And of course, the Holy Spirit was the father, basically, of Jesus, but Mary was her genealogy came from another strain, which eventually led to David, right?
Yeah, there's a couple twists and
And
turns and
Judah.
what have yous in there that's very interesting. You gonna get into all that?
Not right now, no.
No, I'm not saying right now. I'm saying eventually.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I already went through it a little bit, right? When I went over the beautiful names, right, of Israel, right? That's also the division. The division had to sort of happen in a way. I think that there are two bands, right? Two separate people groups, and later on, through the prophets, these two people groups are spoken about differently, and had different paths to walk, and had different goals for God. Right? He had a different goal for them to walk that path, and eventually he promised that they would come back together again. Right? Because a house divided can't stand. That's also what
Yeah,
Jesus
I'm just
said.
thinking about. I think it was Judah. Was it Jehoiachin? It was some numpty kings that got in some big trouble with the Lord, and
Jehovah. Yeah.
it was Jehoiachin, Jeconiah, and they all sound the same. I think there was three of these numpties, and I
Yeah, the
can't.
one was called the same, right? I think Jeconiah and Jehoiakim was the same. The same.
Yeah, what? Yeah, but it's a little confused. That's confusing in itself. The thing that happened was
Mhm.
really confusing because he cursed the damn blood. He cursed the bloodline,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's enough.
But
But
then again, these kings weren't the ones that are in the genealogy
oh
of
yes, they
Jesus.
were.
I don't think
They were
so.
taken
Not
out
these.
of the genealogy afterwards. Oh yes, they were.
Hmm.
That's a completely
Okay.
different story. I don't want to get sidetracked on that. That's a
Yeah, I have.
completely
Yeah, I
different.
should. I know that there is documentation on that. I think that Chuck Missler did a whole
Yeah,
presentation, right?
yeah.
Well, maybe you can bring that up because I think that you know that better than I do.
I can't. No,
Uh,
I don't. I can't. It's happened. Don't you do that? Uh,
So you don't let me get away with that, huh?
you maybe you could do the next. No, 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 because I'd have to go back. I'd have to go find it. Right.
Yeah,
I got other logs on the fire right now.
yeah, sure you do.
I just thought that you might bring it up. I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. I just thought that it might be coming up, but if not, that's okay.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
go ahead,
So,
close out before I interrupt you again.
so the conclusion here: the people of Israel did not keep the Ten Commandments, the covenant, the marriage vows, basically. So Israel, more specifically, the house of Israel, is now a divorced woman. She cannot be redeemed by her former husband, or can she? It's my goal to find out, right? So that's basically it, and that's the end of part one. So the next is a sort of my exploration through the other interesting words that we already sort of gone over, right? That are mentioned in the Bible, and well, let's see what we end up with. Who is the bride of Christ exactly? Who could she be, and where is she mentioned? And yeah, could be nice to
I
see
like
what.
your presentation style and skills are improving by the day. I like how you put down the supporting base. I really enjoy that because it's not helter skelter. It's systematic. I like it. I'm learning a lot from it, and a lot of it flows. But whenever something doesn't flow, it's not. I'm not going to sit here and let it just go. But
Yeah, well, I hope that you at least let me finish it, and then afterwards maybe be the more contentions,
no,
rise to contentions, so that it will be in a one whole of it
mm-hmm.
instead of punching holes in it already, right? Just hear out sometimes, and of course I do want to have hear your contributions or some remarks of it, right? And I can sort of try to explain how I see it, and then afterwards we can, well, more explore more in depth, right? And I can go back into the slides.
Well, don't get so defensive. I wasn't giving you a shit sandwich. This
I'm
was
not
a.
defensive.
It's
I think that
treachery.
it's good. Well, the thing is, I think sometimes you have to see the whole part because you don't know what I'm going to tell later, right? So that
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Now,
Right?
what I was saying, I wasn't giving you a shit sandwich. This was a complete good sandwich. There was no bad things. I enjoy. I really, like I said, your presentation skills are getting much better. Not that they were bad initially, but this is really going smooth, and I like your technique that you're using.
Yeah, well, I'm usually sort of shy on live streams. I don't like my own voice. I think that I told that a lot.
Yeah, I'm getting
Uh,
sick of
I
hearing
don't
that.
like my accent. I
Yeah,
don't
right.
like the way I
Blah
read.
blah blah. It's just
Yeah,
treachery.
exactly. Yeah. Well, and that's it's getting better, and hopefully it will even improve
Blah
more.
blah blah. I'm getting sick of hearing. I told you it's treachery.
Don't defile me.
Yeah, that was coming next. But
Yeah.
very good. So is that the end of the presentation?
This is for now,
For
yes.
now.
Just the
Okay.
introduction. And I will do a recap next, a shorter recap in the next presentation and move on to well, to the end, basically.
You'll move on to the
I,
end.
I want
That's
I want to see who he's going to marry and how he's going to marry, because we have a problem, right? She's defiled, she can't remarry. And God won't have it. He can't remarry a defiled woman, right?
yep.
So it's going to be a good thing to find out.
It's very interesting. Like I said, I like how you laid the base and framework, and you continue. And I like when you circle back sometimes and remind us of that base. Very good.
Yeah, I don't want to let people lose the plot, right?
Yes.
Because that's the goal. I might sort of have some sideways because the Bible is such a profound big book, and sometimes you find these little gems and you want to put that in
Sure.
in the presentation.
Yes.
So you will see that that's sometimes happening, but I think that at the end, the main goal is to find out who is the bride of Christ and who is she and what are her attributes, what's she there for, and
Yep.
what does she do to deserve to be the bride, right? And I mean, all those sort of things.
Yep.
What does it mean to have that relationship with Jesus
Yep.
and your bridegroom to be or whatever, right?
This is a very interesting study. And how many presentations are in this block with the bride?
Till now, I have 7.
Wow.
Lucky 7. Yeah. So next will be the betrothal of the Virgin, right? And who is she? And you're gonna see that there is sort of a new covenant made or being made, and it's open. Right?
I
It's
like
open.
the words. The words are great. Betrothal and virgin. Those are $10,000 words. I like them.
Yeah. Well, the word betrothal, I sometimes have difficulty putting that into a sentence because I'm sort of like not a natural in the English language, and I think is this okay? And if I put it through the translate machine on Google, it'll do it, right? Because it knows the words, and so it won't sort of pat me on the fingers like that I make it wrong, right? So it's so correct me if I make some strange.
No, that's petty stuff. Everyone knows what you're talking about. And if you ever get in a conundrum, just go to Jeremiah 3rd.
Conundrum.
You did it. You caught yourself one time, and then you did it. Then you did it the third time, and you started snickering to yourself.
I like the word conundrum. Get into that a lot.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Remember Bob the science guy? He couldn't pronounce it. He said quanumbrum.
Conundrum. Conundrum. Yeah. Well, if native speakers already have difficulties with the pronunciation of their language, then I think I'm in the clear. Right?
Oh yeah, that Bob doesn't have any. Bob's just a numpty. That's Mr. Quanumbrum. That's what it reminded me of. It's so hilarious. But anyway, to get off of that numpty, outstanding performance so far.
Thanks. Yep. Well, you said make it snappy, so
This was really good. Yeah, but I said make it snappy after you already had the presentation done, so it was already snappy to begin with.
It was, yeah, but this is just the prelude, so the next bits might be a little longer.
Okay.
But it depends also.
It depends on my schedule.
It depends on your debating me.
I thought, yeah, I'm just messing.
Yeah.
Yep. So everyone out there looks like they're talking about everything, but it looks like they're getting it.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, it's just I think it's interesting to just go over the scriptures yourself. If you just go back into this presentation and see what it says and go through the whole chapter. I can't hardly read the whole Bible chapter by chapter, right? So I have to pick out the and I don't want to cherry pick. Sometimes I pick up an extra sentence for context.
Yep.
And that might be sort of like strenuous to hear, because you have to hear a lot of text.
Yep.
But I do that on purpose, because just one sentence doesn't.
Yeah.
You think,
I agree.
right.
I agree. Yep. We
and
got
if you
Nathan.
take a little bit more, then it sort of makes sense to people, and people sort of remember what the chapter was a little bit about. So that's why I do that.
We got Nathan on point out there. He's talking about kangaroos. So you must be, right on point there.
Yeah. Is he right on point? Maybe we should Skippy on out here then.
Skippy, I just had a Jif sandwich too. I snuffed that down. That was pretty funny. You had to come right back to me too. You went the whole way without even saying a word to me, and then I felt, because I did like that. So it wasn't premeditated. I like those words, and I said, "Boy, this is going to give me a chance." I seen a peanut butter sandwich sitting over there. I can go at it.
Well, since I heard your voice, I thought, okay, I can bring him in now.
You're funny. But like I said, very well done. We're just elongating this. Just outstanding. And it's very interesting. Even though I got other things on my mind, you force me, your voice. Like I said, you have a calming voice, and you flow very well. And I don't want to hear anything about the language stuff. It's nonsense. It's calming. I could easily follow you, and you make it interesting. So, kudos to you.
Okay. Well, let's hope that the rest is also very enchanting.
There's another good word. You're full of them today, boy.
Well, the thing is, this is basically, some fairy tales are sort of have a base in this, right? Like Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, right? All these stories have some significance too, if you really think about it. Nobody knows who these stories made up, but they are here for a long time. And if you think about that, a prince kissing a sleeping beauty awake, like that, Snow White being poisoned, right, and then brought back to life, get a new life in a kingdom with a new prince, right? Wow, right? So this is what I'm trying to basically convey is a love story, right? The love story of the Bible.
Sure, that's what it is.
That's what it is. And I think you've said it a lot too, that it's basically a love story. It's a love letter written for us.
Exactly, you got it. A lot of people miss that. Like I said, I noticed that many years ago, and somebody asked me one day, "Well, what would your conclusion be?" I said, "It's a love letter, man. Unimaginable love letter. The love is unimaginable. We think of love a certain way, and it has many connotations, but nothing like this love. This love is." I don't think you can't put it into language. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
And love has laws, right?
Say again?
Love has laws.
Love has laws. Listen to that. Now she's like a philosopher.
Yeah, well, think about it. I mean, there has to be some laws in loving.
So it's conditional.
Well, in a sense, it does, because otherwise it will be corrupted, right?
It has boundaries.
Yeah. I know that I had a conversation with someone, and he said, well, God will love me and he will let me in the kingdom, in the heavenly kingdom. I said, well, does he know you? Oh, that doesn't matter. He loves me, right? I said, well, it doesn't. If he doesn't know you, why would he let you in? And you don't know him, and why would you go there, right? I mean, that would be sort of strange. I mean, if you're in someone's let in someone's house, and you are breaking things and, well, making things filthy and put fire in all kinds of places and put it to fire,
and defile it.
Yeah, defile, yeah. And be treacherous.
Yes.
I mean, why would he let you in the house?
That's right. Good point.
So love is good, but it has boundaries.
Yep.
You have to have a relationship built on trust, faith, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's basically the lessons that we need to learn here on earth. What is faith? What is obedience? And what is love?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's end on that. Final. Is that it? We got to go.
That's my final thought. Yes.
That's your final thoughts. Thanks, Betty. It was an outstanding presentation, by the way, again. So let's bring you back in. Are we good for next Thursday?
Yeah. If you want.
Yeah, tentatively for right now, it's looking good.
Good.
So we'll roll with that. Okay, Betty, thanks. All right, guys. Yeah. Like I said, I hope you got a lot out of this. Stay tuned, because, like I said, she built a pretty good base here. And I think it has some far-reaching implications and quite educational, even though she disclaimed that in the beginning. I find it quite educational. Keep on the lookout this Saturday for BALLBUSTERS. We're going to finish up. We might finish up the science presentation. We'll see how it goes. So have a great day, guys. Hang in there. Catch you on the flip side. Out.